Hey squad, it's Brandon from the Bantu Sun. Thanks for joining us today. I wanted to get in a conversation of a conversation that I had. I went to a social event and I ran into a couple people. And one of the people I ran into, we were sitting there talking about our lives, things that we do professionally, etc. When I told her that I was involved in the teaching of geopolitics, helping people understand and learn more about the world and moving it accordingly. The person looked at me and said, "Wow, that sounds like something that you could do for fun." And it kind of took me back because it was so much wrong with that statement. I didn't even know how to respond to it. As if, wait, first off, what do you make your livelihood in, and why does it not give you satisfaction? If you feel as though what I do for fun, what is that saying about what you do? And I think she was in some type of real estate administrative role, something to that nature. But I wanted to discuss why geopolitics is important to me. And I think this get lost in the phrase. Sometimes people watch the news, they see the political leaders get on TV and they talk, and they think these things are so far removed from their everyday life. And to me, I think it's the exact opposite. Your everyday life is a byproduct of so much of the changes in the world. The food you eat, the clothes you wear, the language you speak, the gods you worship. So much of this, for many of us, is inherited. It is inherited from a macro paradigm, more or less. If you go back and you look at the major changes in history, and because that's what we're doing, we're taking history, economics, trade, and we're understanding what's actually going on in the world as individuals. And I really want to emphasize this point. I am not here to push agendas. I am not here to sell peace and war, to tell people how to live their life. My primary focus is to provide some transparency through my lens of what I think is going on in the world. And it give you that insight, not big think tanks, but to give you as an individual insight to allow you to move in this world successfully. It's a online movement called the Passport Bros, and this was really interesting once I heard a story about these guys. There are many travel groups, but this group had recently got a lot of flack. But primarily, the gist of this group is they travel around the world. It's a group of individuals who travel out the world seeking options, whether that's through relationships or business, to find opportunity throughout the world. Being a veteran, I completely understand the situation. I'm not going to say we were original passport bros because we didn't necessarily have passport, but we were able to travel the world. And when you travel the world, what you'll begin to see, of course, is the beauty that comes along with understanding of seeing different cultures and people interact. But you begin to see cracks. In economics, commerce, those cracks, we call that arbitrage. You see, me, I come from a place, and in a place, I am mass produced. There are people that talk like me, walk like me. Of course, I have some unique traits to me individually, but there's a whole heap of people with a similar education. Uh, I'm American, so I have an American mindset on many things. I probably see the world in an American way, which probably be a little bit more aggressive or a little bit commercial minded. Just by me growing up in America, and these are things that have probably influenced my character beyond even my deepest understanding. So I understand that I'm going to have people of similar kin to me. Hence, America is a very competitive place, right? Because a lot of the things you can do, other people can do. You're given a similar education. You're given this certain outlook. Whether you're going to your trade school, especially you're going to your university, there's a way of things to be done that is in the culture that you pick up. And when you travel to these other places, they have a similar outlook. And there's a way that they do things, the way that they talk, they dress, the way they conduct business, the way they see education. And what you see is not exactly the same. So you'll get there and you'll see opportunities where someone there may not see opportunities. I always give the example of the ice cream businessman, the story I heard of the ice cream businessman in a developing country in Africa. Something that as sublime as that, or as limited as that understanding, something that doesn't seem very phenomenal from person where I come from, where ice cream is so readily accessible. Have Have you ever tried to get ice cream in Malawi? I think it's just understanding. This is a very simplistic example, but there are certain arbitrages, and that could be in romance, it could be in business or whatnot. But the world is a very complicated place, and if you was to move yourself, because there's a supply and demand aspect to success, I will almost say that supply and demand is inherent, vital, nearly synonymous with success. I can't draw the line between those two. And if you want to know, because if you want to know who the original passport bros, they were the merchant travelers of the old world. It was people such as Marco Polo that went to Asia and saw how grand and fruitful the world was, coming from these small Italian city-states, and a competitive nature and a hustle and grind at a highly dense, more people than land type place of northern Italy at the time. And then going to Kublai Khan's China and seeing the grandness of it all. Thousands of animals, administrators, chauffeurs, the bureaucracy of it all. Things that couldn't exist in a highly competitive environment were on a grand scale and this unified state of China at the time. And Marco Polo, who wrote the Travels of Marco Polo, came back and talked about these phenomenal feats he saw. He spoke of legions, the wealth, the people. It was inexhaustible. But what did he do? He moved his feet. It was these travelers. If you look at it, whether it's the Jewish people that lived in the Pale of Russia that were able to migrate to America and find success, the Germans that came over to America, the Italians in Argentina, the Irish in Australia, the Chinese in Southeast Asia, the Indians throughout the British Empire. All these communities, they moved their feet. They separated themselves from the masses, and they supplied themselves to a place that demanded their skills because they were not abundant there. That arbitrage allowed them to flourish and do well in life. And I think this goes back to the individual level. This isn't geopolitics. Of course, it's an understanding of the world and the history and economics. But most importantly, for the individual, is how are you taking the information and utilizing it to better empower yourself, to be the dictator of your life, so that you're not the one at the event asking somebody and looking on longingly, saying, wow, this person really do what they care about. Take that onus onto you so you're doing what you care about and capitalize on the opportunities of arbitrage that exist on this planet. Until next time, I'm Brandon from the Bantu Sun. Take care. Bantu up.